Hi, I'm JamYe WaXman. I'm a sex educator based out of Los Angeles. There's a strong stigma surrounding masturbation because, well, first of all, religion doesn't change. So people who keep growing up in strict religious families are taught the same things that they were taught. They're taught the same belief systems that they were taught growing up. So I think some of it is just passed down from generation to generation. I think other parts of it are that sex is so cool that when you do it alone, it can't be as cool, like you must be desperate or whatever. So there's just this attitude and idea around it that if you're doing it for yourself, then what's wrong with finding a partner? And I really just think it's a word of mouth thing. People learn from people, and so if you're learning from people who say masturbation's bad, you learn masturbation is bad. If you're learning from people who say it's okay to touch yourself, with children too, if you say it's okay to touch yourself to a child, even if they're doing it in public, and say it's okay to do in private, go up to your room and do that instead of what are you doing? I mean, that feeds a totally different message at a young age. I actually really didn't masturbate until my 20s. My brother would touch himself and I was trying to figure out what was going on. I didn't know it was masturbation at the time, but I would rub myself the way I would see him doing it and think, like, why isn't it working for me? And then when I was sexually active in my teens, and at 21 I wasn't sure that I had an orgasm, and I thought, how can one be sure? And then I decided that I was going to get a vibrator. And then I was sure I had an orgasm. So at 21, I know I had my first orgasm. My book, Getting Off: A Woman's Guide to Masturbation, well, it started, actually a friend of mine, Audacia Ray, knew of a project that was happening and said she thought I'd be a great writer for it. I love masturbation. I masturbate every day still. I think it makes you look 5 to 10 years younger. I'm older than you think. I think, at least, I hope you think I'm younger than I am. But I was really empowered by the whole first orgasm I had, which I did for myself, even though I was in a partner relationship for so long. And so I just thought it was a really important voice that, look, I've had partnered sex, and now I masturbate, and I know how to touch myself, and then my partners can help touch me too.
During your research, can you just tell me about maybe some of the most interesting or surprising things that you came across?
I love that graham crackers and cornflakes were both invented to curb masturbatory practices, that vibrators were first used in doctors' offices, and that I don't love, but there were some crazy cures for masturbation for kids, for things from like, don't let them eat artichokes, don't let them climb trees, ride bicycles, don't let them drink tea late at night or any liquids because it will bring attention to their genitals. And then of course there's the whole clitoridectomy and things like that, and hysteria. But I love the facts. Like, masturbation was the first sex act to be medicalized. And it's really fascinating. Until the 1700s, people were doing whatever they were doing and no one was talking about it. And then all of a sudden, bam, this medical doctor, I put that in quotes, I think he was a doctor, he was a quack as well, he decided to put a pamphlet out called Onania, or the Heinous Sin of Self-Pollution and All Its Frightful Consequences in Both Sexes Considered. And he brought this term, onanism, which had nothing to do with masturbation, to mean don't masturbate. Masturbation is in the Bible as a sin, and there's nothing. It's not. And so all of a sudden in the 1700s, bam, masturbation became a problem, or a sexual superstar. It went from an obscure, vice to sexual superstar, and that always fascinated me too.
Do you have any thoughts on the sort of sex toy double standard, as far as, it's more socially acceptable for women to use toys, but the guy uses a fleshlight, he's like sort of a creeper?
I think it's still not as acceptable as I wish it was for women. I think about Taylor Momsen last year from Gossip Girl, who talked about her vibrator being her best friend, and the interwebs went on an uproar about it. But there is a stigma still, but I do believe it's changing because there are so many exciting sex toys for boys out there, like the Cobra Libre, and it's cute, the Man Eater by Big T's Toys. So I feel like the double standard is there, but there are double standards around everything. Men become silver foxes as they age, women don't, and women who have a lot of sex partners are sluts, where men are studs. Like, there are all of these. So this is one that works in women's favor, but I do believe it's all about education and spreading the word. Like, it's cool for anyone to use sex toys. It's a great way to experience new sensations. What
sort of message do you have for people that are afraid of exploring their sexuality or have a lot of shame?
Well, I think that shame and guilt are a natural process in our lives sometimes. I'm Jewish, I know. It's about, we only have this one life to live. Pleasure is a huge component to being alive in this lifetime. seek out ways that you find pleasure. Have fun figuring it out. Sexuality is fluid. Just go with what you're doing and see where it goes. And when you do feel that guilt and shame, ask yourself why. Look at it. Make lists of what make you feel good, or analyze whatever you need to do to understand that if what you're doing is consensual, whether it's with yourself or other people, and it's providing pleasure and you're having fun, then go with it. Like, free your mind and the rest will follow. Just remember to have sex if you want to, in any way, shape, or form that you define it as, and to enjoy what you're doing and to seek passion in anything you do. And you can follow me on Twitter at JamYe.
Awesome.